Welcome. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps spread the word and helps make more of these videos possible. If you like this video even more, you can make a recurring donation via Patreon or a one-time donation via Ko-fi. The links are all in the description below. Enjoy the video. Hello, this is Karigan, and I have another video for you today. Today, I will be doing an unboxing and first impressions, I guess, of this. I believe it is Turner's acrylic gouache, and I have tried gouache before. You guys know I've tried watercolor, but this is my first time trying acrylic gouache. I want to thank everybody who's been using my referral links before, because I was able to pay for this entirely from money gotten from referral links. So this is great. So I get to try something else, and I will give you guys the referral link to purchase this from Jackson's Art as well as from various other places. All right, so let's get started. So this came from Jackson's Art, paid for with referral link funds, and this is how it comes. It's a very nice little package. Now, gouache is a sort of opaque water-based medium, and acrylic gouache is similar, but I believe that it is more permanent. And I've done some research on it, and some people say it's closer to acrylics and closer to gouache. But different people have different opinions on that, and I will let you guys know based on the research that I do, as I do with all my videos. I try to do my own research. So what comes in here is, first of all, this is a palette for mixing up color and doing all sorts of other things, which is interesting because in the back it says not to use a plastic palette, and then they include a plastic palette. So I'm gonna do some research and figure out what the deal is with that. This is a mixing chart that is included, which is in the description, that shows you how to mix a bunch of different colors based on just the 12 colors that come in the palette, and this shows you how to mix all these different colors. So I will take a look at this and then try to see. I believe this is all in Japanese. Turner's is a Japanese company, and it's named after the British artist Turner. But anyway. All right, so that's that. But this is more. I lived in Japan for like 3 months, and that was when I was like in my early 20s, and that was a very long time ago. So I no longer remember almost any of the Japanese that I learned at the time, but I will get some of that translated. I believe this is some sort of cleaning cloth, and I think that this is the thing that they included. By the way, Japan has a bunch of these like little miniature notebook pads, and I remember that a lot from there. So these is a bunch of colors, and then I think in the back it should be how you mix it. Yes, so in the back it tells you like how to mix all these various colors, and it tells you what portion of what to use to get these various colors. So in the back you can see here how to get these colors. All right, so there's that, and that goes here. This is really nice that everything comes in a packet. There was a bunch of different options for gouache and acrylic gouache, and a part of the reason why I chose this one is that it comes with pretty much everything I would need, and because it's not a medium that I've tried before, so I don't really have anything for it. So this not only includes the paints. Let me see if I can turn this sideways. I can. If I put this aside here, I can turn this sideways and show you that it includes paints and brushes. And that's part of the reason why I went with this set, is because brushes were included, and I literally have absolutely no brushes. I just have my watercolor brushes, none of which I would want to use for a medium that is permanent when dried. Oh, this is something. I don't know what this is, but it's something. I don't know what this is. It looks like some kind of ruler, but there's probably instructions for what this is. This is pretty cool. It's some kind of ruler. Oh, I know what this is. Oh, that's super cool. Okay, so what this is, hold on. I'll tell you what this is. This is a sort of mixing ruler, so you can see you can see like how many parts you pour out. So you can pour out, like, let's say, hold on, let me move this out of the way. Let's say you want to do like, you know, you want to make this much of something. So this is 10. So you can put like 3 parts of whatever color, and then 4 parts of whatever color, and then 2 or 3 parts of whatever color. And that's one way to mix it so that you get a sort of an even mix of something. Or you can do smaller amounts. Let's say you want to do, so you can do 1 part 1 color, 1 part 1 color, 1 part 1 color, or you can do 1 part 2 colors and then another color. That's pretty cool. And then you can, you know, pour it out and mix it. Oh, that's really neat. I didn't even know I would need something like that. It comes with 2 giant tubes of white, which I guess is something that you will be using a lot. And then this is also another reason why I chose this set over some of the other sets, is this tube right here, which I believe is some sort of cleaning tube. It's in Japanese, but I believe that this is a tube for cleaning out the palette or something. So anyway, so I'm going to take a break, and then I will come back with some having swatched. I'm going to come back, pour some paint out, swatch. I'm going to try to read as much of the materials as I can read, and I will be back and we can talk about this some more. All right, I am back. I had a chance to play with these paints, and I just want to talk about it a little bit before we do the swatching. This is one of my first pieces. You can see it didn't really turn out that well. I had a lot of trouble getting the mix the way that I wanted it to be. And then this was another one that I did, and this one was a little bit easier because I decided to just go a little bit simpler, and I just did like a little bit of sushi on a background. Not exactly my best work, but I just wanted to play around. You can see the date on it, so you know how long it takes me to get these videos done. And this is some swatching that I did with the colors of the paints. You can see in watercolor you use the white of the paper, but because this is acrylic gouache, you use the white paint actually, and so that's why they give you such big tubes. So we are going to swatch them, but before we do, I do want to talk about this, which I didn't really talk about this in the intro, but I should have. I got this at the same time that I got the paints. This is a Sta-Wet palette, and I poured these paints out like about almost 2 weeks ago. And you can see that some have dried a little bit, but for the most part, they're all still relatively juicy and usable. So I just been adding a little bit of distilled water to the sponge every few days, and it's been working out really nicely. So we're gonna use this paint for doing for when we do the swatches. So this was pretty easy to put together, actually. I think this was I got this with Amazon credit, and I feel like it was like $10. It wasn't a lot of money. They do have a bigger one, but I like this one because it is smaller, and as you guys know, I am in a New York City apartment, so you know, space is really at a premium for me. But this is the Sta-Wet palette, and I'll have a link to all of these things down in the description below. Additionally, one last thing I got with referral money is, after I was playing with these for a while, I went ahead and I used some more referral funds to buy these brushes from Jackson's. Now these are said to be acrylic brushes, but the paints are described as basically matte acrylic paints that are water soluble. So I just figured that that are you know, usable in water, so I don't have to deal with solvents. So I thought I would get this brush and see about it. It did make me want to try acrylic paints. I'm not gonna lie, this does make me want to try acrylic paints. It was a lot of fun working with these. I did do some more paintings than I showed, but and I'll show those at the end. But yeah, let's get to the swatching. All right, so these paints are, as I said earlier, they are a matte acrylic paint. They are acrylic polymer immersion colors, and it says for art, graphic designs, opaque, matte, water resistant, and can be cleaned up with soap and water. So the first color that I did is called Permanent Red, and it is PR 170. And I like the fact that they give you the pigment numbers for these colors, even though these do have more pigments than I would typically see for watercolor. And this is PR 9. This is Permanent Scarlet. And I so enjoyed doing the mixing process that I just had to show you guys here, even though I don't normally show that part of the process. And one of the things that I liked about this medium is that because you mix it with white, you get a little bit more control than I'm used to with watercolors. Because with watercolors, I'm used to sort of being a little bit more free flowing and not always having the most control. But here you get a lot of control, and I believe this is deep orange. This is not permanent lemon. Permanent lemon is the next one. This is permanent yellow deep, and you see me mixing it there with a lot of water. And permanent yellow deep is PY55 and PY170. And I think it's comparable to a Hansa yellow deep or something like that in the watercolor. This is permanent lemon, and it is PY3. And the other thing that I found a little bit of getting used to, took me a little bit, because you can sort of dilute it a little bit with water, which will help you with layering. You can also do relatively thick layers. This sort of getting a lighter color by adding white is why they give you so much white in this. And I thought, oh, that's an excessive amount of white. It's really not. I'm probably going to have to replace the white tube relatively quickly. This one here is permanent green light, and it is PG7 and PY3. And this permanent green light, I actually really like that color, and use that a lot for some of the background layers for some of the colors that I did. I definitely want to try gouache acrylic gouache, because it's first an acrylic paint, and then second it has gouache-like characteristics, I think is more how I would describe it, than a true gouache. I want to try some other brands. One thing I found with this brand is that some colors you add just a pinch of white and it gets really, really light. Like some colors are staining, what we would call in watercolor staining. Like this color, it didn't take much white to make it much lighter. And speaking of which, this color is permanent green middle, and it is PB15 and PY3, so it's kind of like a phthalo greenish tone to it, and that's how I kind of used it. But you can see that just adding a little bit of white got it a lot lighter. I do want to try some, like I said, some other brands. I think Holbein also makes an acrylic gouache, so I want to try that at some point. There are a ton of colors in addition to the colors that you can mix for these paints. This phthalo blue type color, I want to call it phthalo blue type color, but let me get the actual tube out and tell you the color name. This is sky blue. It's PB15, PY3, and PW6. But these colors mixed really well, and I was actually able to mix a fairly decent burnt umber type color without actually having to get the tube of the burnt umber that I got. So you don't really need a lot of colors. The colors that they give you is pretty much all you need. This is called Cobalt Blue Hue, and it reminded me of a sort of ultramarine kind of color, and it is PY29 and PB29 and PW6. So it has a white added, and I noticed that with a lot of these colors have white added, but it didn't seem for me to really be too much of a problem. This is an opaque medium, so I think that that's probably why that's the case. And this next color here is violet, and it has a some sort of fluorescent pigment, and PV23. So this one might not be the most light fast color of the bunch. I don't actually know the light fast ratings. The tube is in Japanese, so it's kind of hard to, like, there's some information is in English, but a lot of the information is in Japanese, so it's kind of it's a little bit hard to know what everything is. But they are made in Japan, so there's that. So I loved all the pastels you can make with this. I know you can make pastels with watercolor just by, you know, using less pigment, but these you make like really truly opaque pastel colors. This is the burnt sienna color, and this one is PR 101 and PBR 11. And I don't think I've ever used anything with PBR 11. This is one of those colors where you add a little bit of white to it, and it lightens up surprisingly quickly. So I had to go back in and use the mid-tone color for this. Because this is my first time with a sort of opaque heavy medium like this, I wasn't sure how they would mix, but the burnt sienna I mixed with a lot of different colors, and you can mix it with the cobalt hue color to get a color that's very like this burnt umber that I purchased. So this is one of those convenience colors, and I'll probably end up getting more of these colors, but I do want to show you here all of the colors together, and just to show you, this is by no means all the tones and tints that you can get from these paints, but I do just want to show you them all at once. Now for the black, I did something that I didn't do for the other colors, where I just showed you a bunch of different shades with various degrees of white added, and you can see just how much versatility is in this set, how much mixing power you have. So you don't need anything more than what's included in this set. Anything extra that you get is basically just for convenience sake. Having said that, I'll probably get a couple of different grays. I like some of these grays here, as well as they have a Payne's gray that I liked. I wanted to show you guys the white here. And then the last thing before I go back over, it's just to show you this is the white, so you can see all the colors together. Again, not all the colors you can mix, but all the colors that I swatched here, because we were swatching for quite a while, and I don't think I tapped the surface of what's possible with these paints. All right, so I am back, and this is what you just saw me do, and I wanted to talk about just a couple of things, just add some final thoughts. Oh, I wanted to show you guys this. I couldn't find some of the other pages that I did because I don't know, but this was my other attempt at making a peach. This was a very light attempt at making an apple. It's not particularly good because I'm not a professional artist, but these were really fun to play with. They are super matte. The other thing to keep in mind is they are permanent once dry, but if you put them on too thick, or you go over them too soon after you've gone over them before, then you can get some reactivation if you go in too quickly after you've gone in there and it hasn't fully dried. So that's something to keep in mind. All right, so wanted to add just a couple more things. Like I said earlier, I really enjoyed these paints, had a lot of fun. Showed you guys more mixing than I normally would because it was just so much fun. Anyway, I did end up getting one tube, which I talked to you guys while I was doing the swatching, but I want to show you the tube. One thing I didn't like is that the tube is actually bigger than the tubes that they give you, which is fine. I guess you save money that way. However, the catch is that then it's kind of hard to fit it in here, and so I had to take out the second white tube. See, this white tube is like, it's gone by a lot. This white tube here is looking pretty empty compared to this one, which is pretty full, having only taken out a little bit. But I got this one for to try to help me do African American skin tones, and we'll see how well that works. Although I was able to mix a close brown to it. So I think that's about it. Just wanted to show you guys this. I didn't really use these brushes, but I'm glad that they came in because they gave me a chance to really see what kind of brushes I needed, so that when I bought the Jackson's Art brushes, I bought pretty brushes that were a similar kind to this kind, and I actually quite like the Jackson's Art brushes and definitely recommended. These are synthetics, but they work really well, and at least for me, I didn't have a problem with this. I may get some tiny brushes because I really enjoyed doing this, and one thing I did struggle with was getting the detail on, since I work on a relatively small scale. I did struggle a bit getting the detail on, hold on, let me see if I can show you. I did struggle a little bit getting the details quite right, and it was a lot of going back over it, and it was a lot of sort of things. The brushes that I have are too big, so I kind of feel much more motivated to get the micro brushes that have been on my Amazon wish list for ages, and I just haven't gotten them, but I feel much more motivated to get them. So anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you guys really enjoyed the swatching and the going over these paints when you do get real brushes that kind of are too big. For the scale that I work in, this is kind of a long handle. I might see if somebody sells short handled acrylic brushes, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. Overall, really like this set. Really think it's a great introduction into the medium, and I wish more companies sold more sets like this of more of their sort of various mediums. The only thing you didn't get with the paper, but you can use any paper, canvas, wood, all that stuff you can use with this. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with these. Really like them, and I definitely recommend that you try them. Yes, they will work on coloring books. I did do a little bit of a test page on a coloring book. Don't have it here because I don't know where I put it, but they will work on coloring books as long as you don't lay them on too thick, and they can be thinned a little bit with water, so you don't need solvents. And I think that's about it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. All right, just have another video at the end here. This is Stewie taking a bath. I don't know what he was going on there for a while. He does have a little bit of kitty eczema, for which he's taking his little chewables for, and sometimes his belly looks a little bit more bare than other times, but he's, as you can see, he's doing good and he's happy.